Joining me now, Congressman Pete King, who sits on the House Intelligence Committee, and Congressman John Ratcliffe, who sits on the House Judiciary Committee. Both are on the House Homeland Security Committee as well. So you've got all the committees covered. Gentlemen, thank you. Good to see both of you tonight. First on this issue, let me go to you, John Ratcliffe, Representative Ratcliffe, on this issue of a second special counsel. Is that necessary?
I think it is necessary, Martha. I had the opportunity not to just review the Republican FISA memo and the Democratic rebuttal memo to that, but also the underlying FISA application and each of the 3 renewal applications. And it was during that review that I really came to the conclusion that a second special counsel was unavoidable, because some of these questions about a FISA abuse, the folks that would have to answer that would not be within the jurisdiction of the Inspector General Michael Horowitz. And so a second special counsel is not just appropriate, but necessary. All
right. And one of the reasons, Congressman King, that is becoming perhaps an option that needs to be pursued is the latest, piece of information. It all just sort of keeps piling up about Peter Strzok, that there was reason to think that he found something on Hillary Clinton's server that indicated that there may have been exposure to foreign governments on that server. And I just want to play. This is from James Comey's presser when he exonerated Hillary Clinton on July the 5th, 2016. Here's what he said about that.
With respect to potential computer intrusion by hostile actors, we did not find direct evidence that Secretary Clinton's personal email domain, in its various configurations since 2009, was hacked successfully. We assess it is possible that hostile actors gained access to Secretary Clinton's personal email account.
Yeah, I remember hearing that, Congressman King, and I thought, wow, that's a big deal. Now we learned that the language, and Peter Strzok changed some of the language on all of this, changed from reasonably likely that hostile actors gained access to the Clinton account, and it was possible when James Comey said it there, sort of a softer phrase. What do you make of all this, Congressman King?
Yeah, I remember hearing that at the same time as you did. At that time, I think Jim Comey had a lot more credibility than he has now. And looking back on that, what he said then and what we're learning now, to me, this is just one more example of, it appears to many of us, that the FBI investigation was not conducted fully, that there are many unanswered questions, and that's why really very reluctantly on my part, because I've never supported a special counsel before, I think in this case it is essential that there be one. I agree with Trey Gowdy, I agree with John Ratcliffe, because there's so much interconnection here, there's so many potential conflicts of interest, and there's so many people beyond the scope of an Inspector General, and we can't expect the FBI and the Justice Department to investigate themselves.
And one of the other big issues that is coming to the forefront now, Congressman Ratcliffe, is this question of Andrew McCabe and whether or not he was leaking information to the press during all of this, which would be inappropriate, correct?
Well, it wouldn't be just inappropriate. It would be potentially a violation of law. Martha, with respect to both Andrew McCabe and Peter Strzok, these developments are not Exhibit 1 and 2. They're Exhibits 101 and 102. I mean, I've literally seen hundreds of text messages and emails and seen sworn testimony and other documents, all of which speak to these unprecedented actions and decisions and irregularities that, again, I think underscore the need for a second special counsel to look into all of these issues.
Yeah, I want to play James Comey because he admitted in his testimony that he had leaked information that was FBI information, a memorandum that he wrote on an FBI computer to the press. Watch this.
My judgment was I needed to get that out into the public square, and so I asked a friend of mine to share the content of the memo with a reporter. Didn't do it myself for a variety of reasons, but I asked him to because I thought that might prompt the appointment of a special counsel.
Does that raise a question, Peter King, about the culture at the FBI and whether or not there was, an effort to get information out there into the public forum?
Yeah, first of all, if Comey felt so important to get it out there, why didn't he do it himself? Why be sneaky about it and leak it through somebody else? Also, to me, it shows that Jim Comey was very selective in his moral outrage. He never did a memo or leaked it to anyone about the fact that Loretta Lynch several times leaned on him to change the terminology of the Hillary Clinton investigation to calling, I don't know what she called it, an issue or an event or something like that. So she was definitely leaning on him, trying to influence the investigation. He never went public with that, never wrote a memo about it, never leaked that out. But instead, he leaks out conversations with the President of the United States. So it shows that leaking was almost an art form with these guys.
He wanted it to be called a matter. She wanted it to be called a matter,
right,
which he passed along to him. Do you think you're going to get a special counsel before I let you go, Congressman Ratcliffe? Is that going to happen?
Well, the request has been made. Attorney General Sessions has received that. That'll be his decision. Again, I think that one is absolutely necessary given all the facts. Again, we've got to restore people's faith and trust in our justice system, in the Department of Justice and the FBI, and very clearly it's shaken right now. And I think one way to get there is to have a special counsel look at these issues that are now clearly in the public view and over which they have a great deal of mistrust.
And that as we wait for the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz's report, which some of this wouldn't fall under his purview, and that's one of the reasons. Representative Ratcliffe, thank you. Representative King, always a pleasure.
Bet.
Thanks to see you both.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you, gentlemen.